Welcome back to another episode on the Gold Room podcast. Today I am lucky enough to have Lan Tran in the studio with me. Lan, thank you very much for joining me.
But after the Vietnam War, the side that lost escaped by boat, just escaped from Vietnam. We ran out of water on the first day.
So no water,
So
not lack of water, just zero water.
Yes, but there was water, engine cool.
Yep.
So we drank that water that kept the engine cool. So it has a bit of oil in it, but it's still water. Well, I don't know what it was, but it was drinkable and...
No, it probably wasn't.
Well, we survived.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Is that what interests you to go and study anthropology and communications?
Yes,
Your belief?
yes.
You've worked in multiple roles, sales, you've worked in recruitment, a little bit of defence. Yes?
So defense would actually come about because of the company I'm currently with, EXTAG. So we provide asset management software.
Yes.
And we started in the oil and gas business.
Lan, you've mentored emerging talent in the Energy WA.
Yes. And so to me, mentoring is very important because I want to be able to impart my learning, my experiences to the next generation.
Welcome back to another episode on the Gold Room podcast. Today I am lucky enough to have Lan Tran in the studio with me. Lan, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me here.
You look absolutely beautiful. I hope you don't mind me saying so. Love the necklace, even the X-tag, and beautiful dress.
Thank you.
I think you might be the most beautiful woman that's walked into the studio to date.
You better delete that.
There might be some other guests that say, wow, what about me? You told me the same thing.
Exactly.
Well, Lan, as you know, we always start with the life and the times, and your journey has been nothing but exceptional. So let's get into that.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Josh. I was a refugee. So after the Vietnam War, not many people have heard it because it happened a long time ago, back in the 70s. But after the Vietnam War, the side that lost escaped by boat, just escaped from Vietnam to escape communism. And so we were one of the first few wave that escaped from Vietnam. Back in the 1980s was when we got to Australia.
Wow. So do you have any early memories of that boat trip?
Oh, yes. It was shocking. I was very young and my parents did not tell me what we were doing. Obviously, you don't tell your kids what you're doing because then they'll blabber them out at school and then they would get in trouble or go to jail. Yep. So I did not know. And when I found myself on that boat, and I can't even say it's a boat, it's a fishing trawler because Vietnamese people are not seafaring people and they don't really know how to sail any further than around the area of Vietnam to fish. So it was a fishing trawler and we were very, very seasick. And at the time, I thought, this is probably the worst cruise I've ever been on.
I shouldn't laugh. I don't mean to laugh.
No, it's okay because when I think about now, I am laughing, but it was very shocking and we did run out of water. So it was a very dangerous situation. And I still remember the most vivid memory, because you asked about that, is the fact that I just wanted lemon iced tea.
Really?
Yeah, that's all. Waking out, thinking about lemon iced tea. I fall asleep thinking of lemon iced tea. Obviously, nobody served me lemon iced tea.
No, obviously not. Not on that. Wasn't a cruise ship. Unlucky. So, what were your parents like in those moments? Brothers and sisters?
Yes, I got a brother, a sister, and an uncle who was 14 at the time, and he had to escape with us because they were recruiting young. It's like basically drafting, young guys to the army to just fight other war like Cambodia, and it's just not fair. So he escaped with us. So my parents had 4 kids basically with them.
Yeah. Where did you land? Were you met by the Australian Navy on the way here? What happened? Run me through that.
So
I've got no idea.
Okay, no, this is good. I love the education part. So first of all, Vietnamese people are not seafaring people, which means if they escaped by boat, and when they didn't go very far.
Okay.
So the idea of Vietnamese people making out to Australia is actually a very, very rare occurrence. So most of the time they just sail out to sea and they try to go to the closest landmass. And for us, we try to Malaysia is probably closest for us, and we try to get there. But I think what I heard afterward is we got lost because our navigation was shite. And also, there was other, stupid, incompetent thing that does happen, because people were not seafaring. And
Lack of water.
And lack of water. Like we ran out of water on the first day.
So no water.
So
not lack of water, just zero water.
Yes, but there was water because there was water that kept the engine cool.
Yep.
So we drank that water that kept the engine cool. So it has a bit of oil in it, but
Coolant,
it's still
coolant.
water. Well, I don't know what it was, but it was drinkable. And
No, it probably wasn't.
well, we survived.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
And then, so we got lost, which is a really bad situation. And on the 6th day, it's almost like God created a world, right? On the 6th day, it was the 7th day, and we literally just ran out of all the water. So it was very bad. And somehow we came across a Malaysian fishing boat. And, we swap whatever jewelry we have on us, the adult, not me, obviously, jewelry we have on us for some coconut they have on a boat.
Wow.
And they took us and they helped navigate us to the closest Malaysian island, which is Bulatanga.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were very lucky.
So how old were you?
About 6, 7.
Okay, 6, 7. Okay. My son would like me to do this right now. There's this young kids, they do this TikTok. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
This is 6, 7. You know what I mean, Dimitri? 6, 7.
Okay.
Stupid nonsense. Anyway, sorry. So you were 6 or 7, and you end up on off the coast of Malaysia.
Yeah, there's an island on it's called Bulatanga, and I was told again these are all afterwards because I was too young to understand the significance of it. But that island used to be a military island, and what happened is if you come to that island, they usually push you back out to sea again and sink your boat.
With all the people on board?
Well, this is what I heard.
Okay.
So I don't know, but, you probably see so because the statistic is that a third of Vietnamese people escaping from Vietnam perish, die, disappear. You don't know what happened.
Yep.
And when you think about it, after so many wave of boat people escaping to the country, they do get annoyed and they don't want to encourage you. And if they can push you back out and discourage you, they will and they can. And so it's if you think about it as a deterrent, it's actually quite effective.
Yeah, look, I would hope that that's just an urban legend rather than humanity sinking other people's ships.
It's not urban legend because we have spoken to other people who made it in the end, not to that island, but to other people in the end where they did get pushed out. They somehow managed to survive the trauma to tell the story.
Oh, wow.
So it's not urban.
Wow, that's horrific.
So, so on that point, the drama of it is we were very lucky because they tend to do that, push you back out, sink or not sink your boat. However, that particular time we had a delegation, an international delegation visiting the island because there were refugees on the island. And because of the international delegation, they brought us in on board. So there's luck after luck for us when we escaped.
That's amazing. And so from Malaysia?
Yeah, Bulatanga.
Yep, to where?
So from Bulatanga, we were there for a couple of months and then we got processed. We got accepted to go to Australia. And so we went, they sent us to Bulabidong, where it's like the camp to keep people in between. And then from Bulabidong, so I think it's about 9 months, time enough to give birth to a baby. So Bulatanga to Bulabidong, from Bulabidong, we flew over to Australia on a plane.
First time on a plane?
Yes, that's right.
How was that? Amazing?
It was
scary?
I think I was too young to really understand the significance. The only thing that I remembered very distinctly is that we were wearing very thin, because it's humid weather in Bulabidong, and was wearing very thin clothing. And I think we flew in May. And I always remember it because May 1980, and we landed, I think, around 2 a.m. And as soon as the plane landed, they spray these things on us, I think just to make sure that we are totally disinfected by the time we, leave the plane. And it was freezing cold. So that's all I remember. It was so, so cold in our flappy, thin clothes.
So where did you land?
Perth.
In Perth?
Yeah, because they flew us straight to Perth.
Oh, wow, amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Wow.
The Australian government was very kind then. There was a policy to actually, accept refugees.
Yep. So would you say that shaped your resilience and that you've carried on through life? Or have you developed that over time?
I think it developed over time, but I would say that shaped how our family are very close together because, it was a very traumatic experience to escape by boat because you wouldn't know whether you survive as a family or not. When you run up water and you're that close to dying, and my mum nearly got thrown off the boat because she has the audacity to argue with the boat captain because she wanted some fresh air. And they basically told her to get down before they throw up the boat, and she stood her ground.
Wow.
So, and I was there and I overheard it. And, it's just one of those things where you're thinking anything can happen on this boat because there is no law and order. So you just have to rely on human decency that at this point they do the right thing.
Yeah.
So that shaped how I can understand the level that human can go to, the dark side of the human side. When you meet people in a social, civil society, you don't see that. It's only when you're in this particular situation and you're thinking about people who've gone through the Holocaust, people who experience war, they see another side of humanity. You see the really awful side, but you also see a very kind side. So that shaped my understanding of the different spectrum of humanity. And then later on, when you talk about building resilience, is actually learning to adapt, live in Australia, learning the language, learning to read people, learning to understand the culture. That's where I started to build resilience. But that was just years and years afterwards.
Yeah, right. Wow. And what about you now? Husband, any children?
So I was married, had one child, married for a long time, 22 years.
Oh, wow.
Well, not 22 years, sorry. I known this person 22 years, married for 17, had one child, and divorced and became a single parent. And I always say there's a difference between a single mum or single dad and a single parent. A single parent look after the child for every sense of the word and pay for everything. That's a single parent.
Oh, and you're a single parent?
Yes.
I'm a single father. 50-50 shared custody.
Oh, how good is that?
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. I love it. I wouldn't change it for quits.
Good.
So I know I did ask you about the resilience, but do you think everything that you went through shaped you as a leader today?
Yes, definitely, 100%, because it comes down to that experience of escaping from Vietnam and starting with nothing. So when you actually come to another country and you have nothing except the clothes on your back, you are at the mercy of the society that is kind to you, and you're at the mercy of the people that are good to you. And so I got to experience that. Our family got to experience that. And that, for me, is so important when you actually look at others who seek to help others who can't do anything for them. And to me, that is what human kindness is. And I feel that that is a very important quality for a leader, is to be able to be kind to others around them, not because there is something in it for them, but because they can.
Yeah, beautiful. Is that what interests you to go and study anthropology and communications?
Yes.
Your belief.
Yes. I find people fascinating. I find the way they interact fascinating. I find the different layers of how people interact fascinating. And I realized the way they interact is the context they're in. And so when I studied, when I had the choice of studying in university, and I have to say, my parents were quite disappointed.
What did they want you to be?
Well, most Vietnamese want their kids to be, dentist, doctor, lawyer. And then the next one is engineer or accounting. And I studied communication study. So it's a bit of a disappointment to them. But, because I was the youngest child, it's like, okay, the other two did okay, engineering, accountant.
Nice.
The black sheep can just study communication study, which is me. And it was amazing because for me, it's just observing how people behave and interact. And you can almost, for me, I see patterns. I see behavioral pattern, and I can pick up something that is an anomaly. And this is something that is not just because I studied, But because as I was growing up, when you start again at the age of 6 or 7 without understanding the language, you actually read everything. You read body, body gesture, body reaction to things. You read that a tiny quirk on the eyebrow, the ears. It's just something moving, and you notice it, and you realize that what come up their mouth is either consistent or not. So that
Wow.
was kind of what I accidentally stumbled into, because I have to try to learn people how to read them before I can learn to speak the English language. And so that kind of add value to my anthropological study.
Wow. For those out there who don't know what the study of anthropology is, do you want to give us a little rundown?
Yes, for sure.
And obviously, what drew you to it? Where did you see it? Did someone tell you about it, or someone mention at the end of high school? How did that work?
So anthropology is a study of human behavior in a social cultural setting.
Okay.
And when I was growing up, and I don't know if you do too, but when I was growing up, I watched a lot of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Loved Indiana Jones.
Exactly. So when I actually, enrolled in the course, I was thinking, this is amazing. I get to, explore and do the adventurous thing. And I just had this Harrison Ford adventure in my head. And I enrolled in it. And I always remembered going to the first lecture. And the lecturer said, welcome to all of those who had come to attend this course. I just want to let you know that this is anthropology and not archaeology. Anthropology, study of human behavior and social cultural setting. Archaeology, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And that's how I stumbled into it.
And you just stuck around. How many people in the class got up and left?
I think there was one or two in the lecture theatre, and I was a bit shocked. But for me, it's like, oh, well, you made your bed, now lie in it.
That's a bloody good attitude.
Yeah.
So how long was the course? 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah, so I studied 3 years, and I had some really amazing lecturer and, academics supporting my progress, because, it's like they were saying, look, we need more women in academia, and, you come from this place of authenticity. This is what they said to me, and they said, we need someone like you who can actually, talk about your experiences in different aspects, and actually, guide and lead the next generation of students. And I just remembered I was actually torn. I was at a crossroad of, do I continue my study, or do I go out in the workforce and get something real, like real work? And I decided to continue to do my honours, and it's quite fascinating because I studied, sorry, I have to bore you with this one, but this is interesting. The role of family photograph in the Vietnamese diaspora. And it talks about how photograph help people empower their sense of helplessness when they go through and look at the old photo, and they can see that they're smiling, even though underneath that they were quite traumatized from their, boat people experience. And so I did 2 years, and I got double first class honours.
Wow,
and then
congratulations.
Thank you. And I thought, okay, I think it's time for me to leave, academia and just go out and find real work.
Yep. That's your path into defence. And
what one? No,
it wasn't.
No. So when I got out from university to look for real work with my amazing double first class honour, I couldn't find a job, because it's like
overqualified.
You know what? You're either overqualified or underqualified, but communication study is neither here nor there. If you're engineering, you're going to engineering. If you're accounting, you're going to accounting. But if you study communication study, yes, it is a generalist subject, but so what? What are you going to do about it? So I did actually, stumble and work into banking and in customer service. I also work in retail.
Sorry, Lan, what university did you study at? What university?
Murdoch.
Murdoch, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
No.
I was just wondering. We're giving a shout out to Murdoch University.
No, don't. They were a great university in my time for humanity. I'm slightly disappointed that they haven't really engaged to help the student to look for opportunities and work in the last couple of years. So I think they need to improve their game for their students.
We'll let them know.
Thank you. But yeah, it was a great university. I stumbled into different role as as many people do when you study a general subject. So I work in banking, in customer care. I work in retail, cosmetic counter manager. And then eventually I stumbled into Yellow Pages, which is directory advertising.
Wow.
And that
How
was
did
a
that go?
dream. Oh, it was a dream job. I love it because it's like when you actually love, when you're like me who love anthropology and you love studying people behavior, cultural, social settings just for the fun of it, and then you're in sales and marketing and you get to actually meet different people every single day and you get to, and they're telling you about their businesses because we're looking after businesses and corporate as well, but they're telling you about their business, how they got to where they got to. It's all this story, and it's
love
like, it's a dream job. So
Yeah.
I absolutely love it, and I did really well.
Do you know if they still have the Yellow Pages now?
They do, but it's probably like a pamphlet.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it used to be this size.
I
And
remember.
and it's like you can't survive as a business if you don't actually have yourself in the Yellow Pages. And it used to be quite relevant until Google came into the
Exactly.
picture.
Yep.
So yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. I remember looking at the Yellow Pages many, many years ago, and all the businesses wanted to. There was the largest category because everyone wanted to be at the front of the phone book.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so they was A plus this and A this, and it was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, because the front is the whole alphabetical system.
Exactly.
And then they would register their business as aardvark, and so that they can just be placed at the front.
Yeah, wild. So you've worked in multiple roles, sales. You've worked in recruitment, a little bit of defence. Yes.
So defense would actually come about because of the company I'm currently with,
Okay.
EXTAG. So we provide asset management software.
Yes.
And we started in the oil and gas business. And, and we looked after significant corporate clients. And I was brought on board to EXTAG early 2023 because I thought, well, you know what? Because we actually solved the problem for our client, because do with lots of assets, lots of people, so it's like asset-rich environment, there must be other industry that actually would benefit from this solution. So, obviously mining, because we had mining clients in the past as well, and defense, maybe there is an opportunity. And so we explored defense, and there was a massive, massive gap because they're still using paper. They're still using clipboard and spreadsheet to this day.
Wow. So let's get into EXTAG. Let's get into EXTAG, how they started, and where they're at now, little goals for the future.
Yeah, for sure. So EXTAG was started, so two founders. One is in the valve business, run a valve business, and the other, he is IT. So he used to head IT for a very big construction company, global construction company. And then, it was a point where he thought, I just want to explore different opportunities and understand what, other things I could do. So he actually built a software that is business to consumer software. So this is before he started EXTAG, and he learned a lot about building an app, business to consumer software. Is that if you actually want to build an app, it has to have very user-friendly interface. It has to be very easy to use. Otherwise, people just delete it from the phone. And so after he did that and he exited from it quite successfully, he saw this challenge as with the other co-founder. They saw the challenge in asset management in big corporation. And they see the problem is that there'll be big system like SAP, huge system. Yeah, that's right. Microsoft Dynamics, very big system that is very hard to use for the common people, and it's very complex, and it's just a pain. And so they thought, how can we develop a very easy tool where people can just literally just scan a tag, which is what I'm wearing, which is an NFC, which is near field communication. They literally scan with the phone, and everybody know how to scan with their phone or the smart tablet. It open up to form, and they can just fill out all the information they need, and straight away it goes into head office.
Into a database.
Exactly. So there's no double entry, triple entry. It work online. It work offline. So it's like you just do the work once, and then everyone in head office can see what's happening. And so that is based on the business to consumer mindset that Gabe has when he built his business to consumer software before, where he thought if the common people are using it, they have to be able to know how to use it intuitively without having to try to understand or have instruction and just, have courses on it. They have to be able to use it the way they're using clipboard and spreadsheet now.
Wow, it's amazing. So EXTAG was recently named in a federal commercialization project, weren't they? Top 5?
Yeah.
Or one of 5,
One of 5. So we, because of our technology capability, so the secret sauce that we have that, as we assess defense opportunity, we haven't seen any company that provide asset management that we could do. Our secret sauce is that we can update forms in a very short amount of time, within 24 hours if needs be, but, very, very quickly because of the way we build our software. And if you come from software space, when you build software, it is hard-coded. Programmers are hard-coding this information, which take months, weeks, very long time. And so when it roll out, the information might be redundant. For us, we can do it within 24 hours. So if someone actually give us a good idea, our client give us a good idea and say, can you please sort the form in this way, add one more column information, we can do it. And depending on urgency, we can do it within 24 hours, which means the next time they go back to the shift.
That's amazing.
Yes. And so because of that, we were selected for our, what they call asymmetric capability for defense, which means it gives Australian defense an advantage over, natural enemies because they have this system that allows them to do something that is quite incredible and it gives them the efficiency that they don't currently have.
Wow, that's amazing. What does that mean for you personally and the company?
So for us, so this is an interesting thing, right? So even though we were, we're selected, we're in the program, and we've gone through the program, it is amazing because it's validation and recognition of our technology, and and in order to get in, we actually have to have someone in defense, very high up, understand the problem, who actually said, yes, that is a solution we need, and we want to engage with it in order to get into that program. However, as you probably know, like any procurement system that is Commonwealth procurement system, it's a long journey. So just because you're in the program, you got recognized, a lot of cheering and applause and recognition, you still have to go through the procurement process, which is a very long, convoluted process.
Still got to jump through a few more government hoops. Yeah.
That's right. Very convoluted, unfortunately.
Lan, you said, I've got it written here, every challenge has a solution if approached pragmatically.
Yes, I truly believe in that. And I'll give you 2 examples.
Great.
So that way it outlined the story very well. So when I first was in Yellow Pages and I did sales in Yellow Pages, I started from the very bottom, telemarketing to telephone sales, and then I got promoted to face-to-face within a year because I thought, wow, she's doing well. She's going to really ace it when she go out to the market. Now, which is wonderful, and I was very excited. The problem is I have a very bad sense of direction. I have no navigational capability at all to my knowledge.
Well, if you were using the Yellow Pages, there was no Google and there was no Google Maps. So
yes, literally I have a map. A map, right? So I remembered, and this is quite a struggle for me because I thought I want to do well because that's what I'm known at in Yellow Pages. She'll ace it and she's going to do well. And I remembered, I grew up in Perth. So from the age of 6, 7, I grew up in Perth. And and when I was a student, I often go to Perth. So I know Perth really well, supposedly. And I remember looking for St. George's Terrace to look for a client, to see a client. And I remember driving up and down St. George's Terrace, looking for St. George's Terrace. Now, an hour and a half later, no, don't laugh. This is shocking.
I was like, wow, okay.
Navigation's good. An hour and a half later, because I don't give up that easily, I drove back to the office, which is in Burstwood, really deflated. And I realized, of course, that was St. George's Terrace. And so I thought to myself, this is going to be my downfall. If I cannot fix this problem, I'm going to like fail at my job. And so I realized that, okay, that is going to be my, what you call disability. It might be, something I'm not good at. But maybe what I could do is that I'll see my client once only. So that way I'll do my map and I read carefully. But instead of seeing my client, because face-to-face you see your client a couple of times before you close the sale, and that's what most of my colleagues did. And I thought, I don't have that luxury. I'm just going to see them once. And that's it. And close the sale. So I improved my technique where I closed the sale already on the phone because I was an ace telephone salesperson. I closed down the call. And when I see them, it was more of a formality of seeing face. Yep. And then I closed the sale. So I had
face-to-face and a coffee.
Yes, that's right. So it's a once call close, which free me a lot of time to do my job really well. So that is a solution I created for something that is, I can't fix because I know that navigation is going to always be my weakness, and let's do something else. The other one was when I was in Hong Kong, and this is, when I was living with my son in Hong Kong as an expat, a traveling spouse. I remembered I had to look for work in order to put my son into school because you have to have like some sort of like residential card to actually put my son in school in childcare. And I thought, okay, well, I have to find work now as a traveling spouse. And I'm thinking, this is a bit sucky because I can only speak English and Vietnamese. And in Hong Kong, it's Cantonese and Mandarin. So how am I going to look for work that's going to give me an advantage? And I remember applying for work in this recruitment agency that specialized in bringing creative people from around the world to actually work in the China market because China is a really big market, for advertising. Yep. And I remember just telling them like, look, unfortunately, I can't speak Cantonese and Mandarin. I look Chinese, but I can only speak English. And they said, oh, well, you know what? That's okay because you will always, have like a Cantonese or Mandarin speaker with you. So you'll be okay for that. And I remember thinking, oh, you mean like Mormons? And I think I was thinking Mormons and Mormons. And I think, okay, that I might have lost that job opportunity, but they really liked my background. Awesome. And so they brought me on board. So to me, I could have thought, hey, I can't speak the language. Therefore, I'm not going to be able to find a job here. But I thought, no, why not? And the truth is, I actually did I had a really good time, with the 9 months I was with the company because, there was like creative people. They still have to speak English to work with the parent agency back in, in the US or in Australia. So you still need English as a main language. It's only the Cantonese and Mandarin part that is required when you're talking to local agency or the local branch of the parent company.
Wow. So you're reaching out internationally.
So when I was when I was in Hong Kong, it's like, ultimately you're still dealing with international company, and most international company, English is still the predominant language.
Of course, yeah. Wow, amazing. So from all of your experience, your vast experience, where do you think some huge opportunities lie in the oil and gas and the mining and the defense space right now?
So I was trying not to plug too much about my company, but now you put me in a position where I have to.
That's exactly what you're here to do.
Okay, so the opportunity I saw. So the most important thing that I'd like you to know is that back in 2023, when the co-founder of the business interviewed me for the first time and told me about EXTAG technology, I was actually blown away because coming from technology and software background, I thought it was impossible. The fact that you could actually update form in such a short amount of time, I thought was kind of impossible until I saw it for myself. And the fact that, our footprint is not as deeper given the technological capability. So I joined because I thought this is such an amazing product, and it will be an easy sell because it's just a case of people are frustrated with the system they have, and it will be a quick conversion. So it wasn't, because obviously when you're talking, when you're dealing with massive corporations and big companies, you don't just find your champion, but you have to find a coalition of the willing to implement the system. So that's what I realized afterward. But the opportunity is just insane, because as I talk to different client opportunities and defense, the gaps are there. And when I talk to the right person that is having this problem, they go, oh my God.
You're our savior.
This is, yes, but it's just a case of, finding the coalition of the willing to implement it in order to move forward. So I'm quite excited because it's just an insane opportunity for EXTAG.
Is EXTAG thinking about what else they can be doing with this amazing software? Obviously there's machine monitoring. If you're collecting data, if people are instilling data, is there another way of obviously other companies are doing machine monitoring. Is it something you guys are looking into?
So with EXTAG, because of the capability, one of the things that we do really well is that once you get the data into the system, you have visualization, a dashboard to visualize exactly where your assets are. And
like a SciTech system.
Yes. So you can see the asset placement, where it's at, its health, its status. So what's really good about it is that we could ingest other people's data from other systems to provide that visualization, so that you actually have this one dashboard that you could refer to with all the data from different systems. And so that's very exciting, and that's what we're capable of. And the other idea that we introduced, so I introduced at a Women in Mining WA event recently, a new concept which is very exciting called Model Context Protocol, MCP, which is a framework, like a bridge that allows different systems to talk to AI. So that AI to talk to different systems to get the information it needs for you to do your work well.
Effectively like a API structure.
Like an API integration, but in the past, when you actually talking about software, like, does your software integrate with this software and its API, like in order for it to talk? Now you don't need to build that integration. All you need to do is have an AI, because AI is the way of the world, and
the way of the future.
They're the way of the future. So all you need to do is build in front of your software model context protocol that allows it to actually build that. Actually it bridge across to AI, so that AI can actually ask any system within your operation and actually get the result it needed. So So that's very exciting.
Wow, that's amazing. Lan, you've mentored emerging talent in the Energy WA.
Yes.
Energy WA Club. I didn't realise there was an Energy WA Club. I knew that there was a Mining WA Club, the Mining Club. So go into a little bit of that. That's pretty interesting.
Yes, so because energy, they call it energy, but really it's the oil and gas sector, predominantly oil and gas sector. And, I believe in mentoring, because, again, it comes back to my root and my experience of being at the mercy of, of the goodness of people to actually help us get to where we are.
That's right.
And I remember that when I started out in the workforce, I didn't really have a true mentor. We didn't have any family connection. So we literally found our way to where we are by not really having a lot of family connection to get us there. And I thought it's not fair that, we have great, amazing talent. They lose so much time trying to work out their place in the world. And so to me, mentoring is very important, because I want to be able to impart my learning, my experiences to the next generation. I don't expect them to follow it through completely, because every person is a unique human being. However, if my advice and my lessons help them, cut through some of the crap, then it just make the world a better place. So I truly believe in that.
How do you think we can make the resources sector more appealing to young graduates or even young students still at high school, looking at and thinking about what they're going to do next?
This is a very interesting one because I operate in a sector where the resources and mining are seen as you damage the earth and rape and pillage, but when you look at the arts and the culture and the lifestyle that we have, and just taking Western Australia for instance, during COVID, we lived like kings and queens during COVID.
Here in WA.
In WA, that's right.
Yep.
And you have to look at the sector that supported that. And so to me, I think it comes down to educating the younger generation about, the economy, what is supporting the kind of lifestyle and the world they want to live in, the world they want to raise their family in. And when you explain in that context, and their contribution is that if you don't like a certain way of doing things, you have to be inside the system to change the system. So it's just, I think it comes down to education.
Yep.
It's very easy to point the finger while you enjoy your wine and your steak and go to arts and museums and just forget the fact that these are the sector that actually help support the richness and wealth that we're enjoying.
Lan, finally, a question that it's the last question for you. It's a question that we've been asking recently. What is something that you've been told by someone throughout your life, or what's something that a great piece of advice? Have you got something?
Yes, for sure. So when I was younger, I was a bookworm, and I remember stumbling across this quote in a library, and I hold it very dear to my heart, and I try to follow as much as I can. And it goes something like, I pass this way but once. Any good I can do, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect, for I shall never pass this way again. And that by Etienne de Grelet, a Quaker missionary.
Wow, that's beautiful.
I love that one.
Yeah, that's amazing. You've memorized it. How often do you say that to yourself?
I don't say that often to myself, but I have a vision of it.
Yep.
So every time, when I choose to do mentoring for different, sectors, so not necessarily just energy, but also for defense as well. And I continue the relationship with my mentees as well, because to me, it doesn't have to be a formal process. And I look for others to mentor as well, is that I have the vision in my head because I see in 3D and I literally think, I'm going to just be walking through this once only. Just like when I was in Hong Kong, I was just going to be there once only. What could I do to shift the dial? Because I may not walk that way again.
Wow.
And so that means a lot to me.
That's amazing. Lan, you're an amazing woman. You've been through so much and you've come out the other side, or you've obviously built your life here in Australia, and I think you would have made a bloody ripper impression on a lot of people out there. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing what EXTAG does in the future. I'll certainly be following along.
Thank you so much for that, Josh.
Not a problem. Well, thank you very much for tuning into another great episode on the Gold Room Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and throw a comment in there. Thank you.